everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to share with you the books that I'm planning to read this fall. Over the summer, I actually read 11 out of 15 books on my TBR, so I think that's pretty good. One of them was a reread I didn't get to, and then a couple of them they didn't have my library and I didn't feel like buying any books I wasn't sure about yet, so I didn't finish the rest of the TBR, but I do feel pretty successful about completing that, especially because I was so busy. So I'm very hopeful for this fall's TBR. I also have 15 books on this one as well. The weather is cooling down and I'm definitely in the mood for more cozy books, more thrillers. I'm so excited to read the series on my TBR this fall and also the standalones. So many of the books just scream fall and I cannot wait to get into them. So let's get started on this TBR to see what I'm planning on reading this fall. The first book on my fall TBR is The Book Thief. I actually got this copy from Thrift Books and nothing against them. It was just a mistake, but this copy is so destroyed. Like, the cover is half off and I did not order it in a bad condition. It was one of the better ones. But I reached out to them and they actually refunded me the whole price, which was actually not that expensive at all. It's Thrift Books, but I'm very happy with the customer service there. But I was bummed to get such a bad copy because this book is, I think it's considered a modern classic and I really wanted it in my collection. I know some people needed to read this for school. I never read it for school. I've never read this book at all. I've heard incredible things about The Book Thief and I know it has won many awards, so this one is such an important one on my fall TBR. The next book is The Great Gatsby. This one is a classic that I have never read before. Some people needed to read this for school. Again, I did not, but I've heard amazing things about this book and I never really understood what The Great Gatsby was about. Honestly, I'm still a little bit confused and I'm 100 pages into this 150-ish page book. The Great Gatsby is actually set in New York City and around the city, which was fun because I went to New York City on a trip last weekend. So reading this book leading up to the trip and actually on the day of the trip when I was in the bus, it has been really fun so far to see how New York was in the 1920s. Although I am still a little bit confused about this book and it has taken me much longer than I expected to get through. I thought I would kind of fly through this because it was so short, but of course with any classic it's not going to be as easy to get through as a modern book because the writing is so different, and I was really scared when I read the first chapter and I read it so slowly because it was really confusing, but then it gets so much easier to read after that first chapter, and really this is one of the easier classics that I've read. I'm excited to finish The Great Gatsby and see what all the hype is about. I know it's such an iconic book, but at the same time, some people think it's really overrated. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what I think about The Great Gatsby. The next book is Final Girls by Riley Sager. Riley Sager was actually the first thriller author that I read last fall. The first book I read by him was Survive the Night, and for someone that was new to thrillers, this one was super fun to me. From there, I was obsessed with his writing, as I know Haley Pham is, and I took all of her recommendations. I read Lock Every Door and The House Across the Lake as well, and I loved those books. So I want to read Final Girls, which is a book that sounds intriguing. Honestly, I don't really remember what Final Girls is about, but I don't want to read into it more because I kind of like going into thrillers as blind as possible. I know Riley Sager is one of my favorite thriller authors that I found so far, so hopefully I like this book. The other Riley Sager book I have on my fall TBR this year is The Only One Left. This one I actually just picked up from the library today. I was at work when I got a notification that I was off the wait list and it was ready for me and I was so excited. I've been on the wait list since it's come out in June. Based on my calculations, when I got on the wait list, I figured I would get it around fall time, which was perfect because this of course is a thriller. Thrillers are great in the fall, and this week has actually been a lot cooler than it has been, so it feels more like fall. And just going to the library and picking up this book and the other books that I picked up got me in such a fall mood. It's in the 60s today, which is incredible. And I'm so excited. This book should be a little bit different than the other Riley Sager books I've read. It does describe it as a gothic chiller. It's about a young caregiver who is assigned to work for a woman accused of a massacre decades earlier. So this one will be interesting to read. I have heard okay things about it. Nothing like super amazing, but that tends to be the case with Riley Sager from what I've noticed, and I tend to love his books, so I'm looking forward to reading this book. The first series on my TBR this fall is the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. This one has gotten rave reviews. This kind of series is actually new to me because it is a young adult murder mystery series. I've only read 2 mystery books and I didn't love either of them. So I'm looking forward to seeing if I like this one anymore. I've heard such good things about this trilogy and I'm excited to finally read it. I picked these up at the library today, which I was so excited for. Of course, I went to get the only one left, but I checked what other books were available that were on my wish list, and it turns out my library was the only one in the system that had all 3 copies available, which is typically not the case. So it felt like it was meant to be, and that all the books were together, and I was just so excited to check all of these books out. The colors look so good together, and they just look like fall. And that's also the case for the next book on my TBR, which is 5 Survive. This one I actually didn't put on my fall TBR initially, but I saw this at the library and I've heard such good things about this. This is also by Holly Jackson, so the same author of the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. And I'm pretty sure this one is just a YA thriller. There's 8 Hours, 6 Friends, and 5 Survive. I'm so excited for this book because 1, I've heard amazing things about it, and 2, I tend to like thrillers over mysteries from what I've seen so far, but we'll see how it compares to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and what I think about it. I also loved Survive the Night and No Exit, which are thrillers that deal with survival, so this one sounds like one I'm going to love. To keep that theme going, the next book on my TBR is a murder mystery, and it's actually part of a trilogy, but I only have the first book. It's One of Us is Lying. I also have the next 2 books on my TBR, and when I did plan out my TBR, I thought it was only a duology, but then I realized that a 3rd book came out recently, so I guess I need to read that. If I like the first 1 or 2, we'll see. I've heard incredible things about this book as well, and I know there's a TV show now, so I'm even more inclined to read the books. This one has been on my physical TBR since last fall, and I've been meaning to read it, but I've been a little bit hesitant towards it because I don't know if I love murder mysteries. Of course, I'm looking forward to learning if I like murder mysteries with the books I have planned for this fall. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about 5 students who are in detention, and before detention is over, one of them is dead. So it's about the rest of the 4 students being suspects in his murder. Sounds like a very interesting premise, and I've heard great things about the series. Looking forward to reading it, especially looking forward to reading it off of my physical TBR. The last series and the last set of books on my fall TBR is the Hunger Games series. I don't own the prequel because I'm waiting to see if I like it enough to buy it. But this series is on my fall TBR because I actually never read the full series when I was younger. This was so popular when I was in middle school. I watched all the movies and I did read the first book, but I did accidentally DNF Catching Fire. I didn't do this on purpose, but I think I read about 70 pages and I didn't really love it, so I just kind of forgot about it. And I'm not one to DNF books nowadays, so it's funny that this happened. I feel like I'm going to... Oh my goodness. There's a bug on my floor. Oh my gosh, where did it go? Ah! I have to get it. I had to take a quick break because there was a bug crawling on my floor. One of those with lots of legs. Hate those. And my cat was following very slowly behind this bug, sniffing it but not getting it. I was really hoping for him to kill it. But now, getting back to the Hunger Games, I really want to read this series this fall, especially with the prequel movie coming out in November. I want to actually read the book before I see the movie this time. I'm very excited to read the series because it is such a good, iconic book series. I know I love the movies, and it's a little bit different from books that I've read because it is dystopian. If I really love this, I would love to read the Maze Runner series again. I think I only got a couple books through that. I know my sister read all of those books and she loved them. So that one's not on my fall TBR, just an extra little book series I might want to read soon. that wraps up all the books on my fall TBR. I cannot wait to get started reading these books. I am obsessed with fall and I love reading in the fall. Let me know what books you're planning on reading this fall. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like it if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more reading content. Thank you again so much for watching and have a great day or night.